but circumstantial evidence will clearly point to the fact, as I said, that Government of India played a role which was favorable to Adani. If it was not supporting Adani all the way through, then the Government of India would have started its own investigation. And I will not be surprised at all that Government of India had put its weight behind Adani so that he gets out of this muddle. If you have money, you can buy justice. First, he hired the lawyer who is a lawyer of Trump. So he compromised the system, the executive system. And then by making an offer to invest in the US, he's compromised the economic system, the financial system in the US. And finally, he has compromised the judiciary of the US.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. US Department of Justice reportedly is dropping its fraud charges against Gautam Adani, who's the richest man in Asia, after he hired a new legal team led by Donald Trump's personal lawyer, according to the new reports. Now, this is a story which has come out in Guardian. New York Times has reported, Bloomberg has reported. So all these American newspapers have reported it widely. Now, what is more dangerous and what is more focusing on this story is the fact, and I'm going to read that portion now. In an undisclosed meeting in April with the Department of Justice, Trump's personal lawyer, Robert Guifra Jr., said that Adani would invest $10 billion in the US economy and create 15,000 jobs if prosecutors drop the charges against him. This is again according to the New York Times and the Bloomberg report. Now, Guifra, who's the personal lawyer of Donald Trump, also reportedly had a presentation of 100 slides that explained why prosecutors lacked evidence and jurisdiction over the case. This is what the news reports are. Now, the prosecutors said that the potential investment would not sway the outcome of the case, but the offer received favorable response from one of the senior Department of Justice official. This is what has been reported. So this is the main story. And just to remind the viewers that Adani was accused of conspiring to pay $250 million in bribes to Indian government officials and misleading American and international investors with false statements. Now, remember how it was received in India. Adani was supposed to accept the summons. Those summons were not sent at all on the Indian side. There is no investigation, nothing. The courts are sitting pretty, but this is what has happened finally in this case. But there are a number of other issues. But joining me this evening is a very special guest, a veteran politician and former Union Minister, Yashwant Sinha, joins us this evening. So thank you so much for joining. And I will begin my questions with this report which has come out on Adani, how the fraud charges are going to be dropped. And does this look like a quid pro quo, that he's going to invest $10 billion, create 15,000 jobs, and not to forget that there is a settlement fee, or if you can say a bribe, which is paid by Adani. Now, $18 million have been settled for dropping of the fraud charges, out of which $6 million will be paid by Gautam Adani and $12 million will be paid by his nephew Sagar Adani. What does this look like, sir?
Well, it throws up a lot of questions. To begin from the beginning, what was the charge against Gautam Adani? The charge was that he had bribed Indian officials. That is the most important part. That he had bribed Indian officials This was found out during investigations in the US, and then they started the case against him. What has been the role of the government of India? The government of India never itself investigate the charges against its own officials who were accused of accepting money from Adani. Then came the summons sent to Government of India to be served on Adani. Government of India never served that summons. And I will not be surprised at all that Government of India had put its weight behind Adani so that he gets out of this muddle. Now he has bought justice in the US. The issue is that in the United States of America, if you have money, you can buy justice. First, he hired the lawyer who is a lawyer of Trump. So he compromised the system, the executive system. And then by making an offer to invest in the US, he's compromised the economic system, the financial system in the US. And finally, he has compromised the judiciary of the US. I mean, we cry hoarse here about the role of our judiciary in our system, but this is the fate of the US judiciary in a case like this. So,
and there was an impression that the institutions in America are very safe, they are secure, nobody can tamper with those institutions.
Absolutely. That faith in the US system of justice does not exist anymore. At least I will not trust the US justice system anymore. So he has got away, or he will get away. He has money. He can invest billions of dollars. So the net is, Neelu ji, that if you have money, nobody can touch you either in the US or in India. That is the upshot of this episode.
But all these allegations which Rahul Gandhi has been talking about is the fact that he's a compromised PM. Our energy security was compromised. Look at the way how Indians were chained and then they were sent back to India from America. Our PM never spoke. There was a ceasefire after the Operation Sindoor. Prime Minister never spoke. So this Prime Minister's silence, and repeatedly Rahul Gandhi has been saying that it was because of his friend Adani and maybe Epstein files, but I'm not getting into that today. But what does this look like? That was Prime Minister keeping silent all this while to secure a deal for Gautam Adani?
I mean, you can't say that this is direct evidence, but circumstantial evidence will clearly point to the fact, as I said, that Government of India played a role which was favorable to Adani. If it was not supporting Adani all the way through, then the Government of India would have started its own investigation, isn't it? I'm hoping that some point of time in the future, when the Government of India changes, then that Government of India will start investigations on the basis of these allegations against Adani that he bribed Indian officials. The charge is not that he bribed American officials. The charge is that he has bribed Indian officials. And because he is a registered investor in the US judicial system or the prosecution system went after him. But now he's bought his way out. And as I said earlier, I have no doubt in my mind that Government of India has played a role in ensuring that Adani's charges are dropped.
What happens now if he has to collect $10 billion? Is Adani going to approach our banks to invest $10 billion in America? How is he going to create 15,000 jobs over there? I mean, is there going to be a backlash in India if supposing people come to know that he is trying to borrow money from our banks? What happens then?
You never know. Our banks lend
But
in
there's a
foreign exchange.
possibility. But there's always a
Yeah,
possibility of that.
yes, because our banks do not merely lend in rupees, they also lend in foreign currency,
Yes.
dollars. So, if he approaches the State Bank of India in New York and says, please give me $10 billion, $5 billion, the clout that he has with the government of India and over the systems that we have in our country, I will not be surprised at all if the Indian banks come forward to bail him out and give him the money he requires. I will not be surprised at all.
But how does one stop this? Because nobody has any jurisdiction over what Donald Trump is doing. Nobody has a jurisdiction or any kind of control what SEC is doing or how they are settling this case with Adani. But the Indians, for Indians, is it not feeling cheated about this whole episode of how Adani is protected and insulated so well?
Of course it is. Of course. I mean, he is the uh, Nagar Seth of India. You know, that ancient concept where he was the biggest trader or wealthiest man in the town, and he had direct access to who was the chief of government. In this case, he has direct access to the Prime Minister of India, and the Prime Minister of India is an avowed friend of Mr. Adani. The Prime Minister of India has gone out of his way in the past, will go out of his way in the future to protect him. I mean, how is it that we are handing over everything to Adani? We are handed over our seaports, we have handed over our airports, we have handed over our railways, we have handed over our roads. Who has constructed this famous Ganga Expressway in UP? Mr. Adani. So, if you are so much in favor, and the test of this is, will this government, I am repeating, will this government start a probe against the Indian officials who were bribed by Adani? After all, the crux of the matter is that he bribed Indian officials. The charge is not that he bribed the American officials, SEC officials. No, he bribed the Indian officials. And the government of India has not launched any investigation. So that clearly proves the nexus between Adani and the government of India. Nothing else need to be proved.
Right. This story, of course, has become a huge political point. A lot of people are commenting on the social media, which includes Prashant Bhushan. Subramaniam Swamy also has tweeted this morning. Rahul Gandhi also has written about it, that this trade deal was not a trade deal, but it was a deal to secure Adani. It was a deal done to secure Adani. This is what Rahul Gandhi has written, and this is what the tweet says. Compromised PM ने trade deal नहीं, Adani की रिहाई का सौदा किया है. So basically, this was a deal to exonerate Adani from all the charges. This is what Rahul Gandhi has said. You'd like to comment on this, Mr. Sinha?
I have just seen this comment of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and I have no reason to differ with what he has said, because as I said, the whole story is a sordid story. Sordid. It is sordid in the extreme, because the government of India is favoring Adani all through. Right. They favor him in India, they favor him in the US, they protect him wherever he gets into trouble. And, he's a very important link between the powers that be here and the powers abroad. I mean, why is Mr. Modi so friendly with Netanyahu of Israel? Because Adani has huge business interests in Israel. You are aware of the fact that he runs the Haifa port. So, he makes deals. Mr. Modi enjoys those deals, protects Adani, and he also promotes his relationship with foreign dignitaries.
A I'll move on to the next subject. Of course, Adani was this one chapter. The story broke early morning, and all the newspapers have reported. But coming back to the manner in which Prime Minister recently made appeals to the citizens, those 7 appeals that cut down on fuel, work from home, don't consume too much of edible oil, bring that down by 10%, don't buy gold. What do you have to say about these appeals? And this is all to counter the Iran crisis because he was not able to handle it.
This government has no experience of handling a crisis, Neeluji. In all its 12 years in office, they have not faced a crisis. The only crisis was during the COVID period. And COVID was considered to be a natural disaster. Nobody blamed Mr. Modi personally for this. So when he asked the citizens to stand in their balconies and beat pots and pans and create a noise which will drive away the COVID infection, people believed in him and did what he said. But this crisis is entirely his making. It's the government's making. Because when did the crisis begin? On 28th February, when the war started in the Middle East, in the Gulf. Iran was attacked and the war started. And Mr. Modi had already gone to Israel and stood with Netanyahu, proving to the world that he was standing with Israel and the US. So that answers that question that you had asked earlier as to why does he not respond to Trump? He will not respond to Trump because, as Trump himself had said, that Modi's political career was in his hand and he can destroy it whenever he wants. But because Mr. Modi is his friend, so he will not do it. So obviously Trump has something which you and I don't know, which if disclosed publicly will ruin Mr. Modi's political career. So he's compromised. There is absolutely no doubt. And that's why he did not respond when Indians were brought in chains in the US aircraft, military aircraft, and sent to India. Even a country like Colombia in South America protested to the US and said this will not do. This is not on. And in future, they send their own planes to bring their own citizens back. Now, did India do anything like that? No. So we have, for some reason, submitted to Mr. Trump. Mr. Modi personally has submitted to Mr. Trump. Unfortunately, he has now reached a stage where he is avoiding Trump. I mean, he is much less going to Washington, D.C. He is not even attending those conferences where he knows Trump will be present because he knows that Trump might insult him. In the meanwhile, two very important developments have taken place, Neeluji, as far as our foreign relations are concerned. Number one, India was considered by US to be a counterbalancing force against China. Now with China and US coming together, India has lost that position completely. So in the big wide world, we are on our own. The US is not going to support us. Number two,
no, US
has
will
come.
support us, and even China was not going to support us.
China, of course not. China, of course not. China has been hostile to India, so there is no question of China supporting India. The other very important thing is China was very close to Pakistan. They described their relationship as a relationship which was based on mountains and valleys and all that. So Pakistan was close to China. Now Pakistan has gone close to the US also. I mean, the way Munir has been, Field Marshal Munir has been wined and dined in the White House is surprising in the extreme. So our sworn enemy, Pakistan, the exporter of terrorism in India, Pakistan, is now a friend not only of China, but also of the US. What is our position? We are neither friendly with China, nor are we now friendly with the US. And we have lost the only lever that we had of being a counterpoise to China in Asia. So that calls for a complete and fundamental shift in our foreign policy. Because all the pillars on which our foreign policy had been built or rested so far, those pillars have collapsed. Now, is the government thinking about a new kind of foreign policy? I don't know, because I see no evidence of that.
Oh, but the government will never admit that they have failed on the foreign policy account at all. They are, Prime Minister is beginning his trip now again for another 7 days. He's going to UAE, he's going to Netherlands, Sweden, several countries he's visiting.
He's setting an example after having told his countrymen, don't travel abroad, don't go abroad for marriages, don't go abroad for tourism, don't go abroad for holidays. He himself has gone. After all, you must grant it to him. He has worked very hard during the elections, and a man is entitled to some rest.
No, but he has done he has embarked upon certain cosmetic measures, like he's cut down the strength of his cars in the convoy, and he has asked his cabinet ministers. Then yesterday I was reading that Rekha Gupta, who's the Delhi chief minister, she has asked her bureaucrats to, take a metro and come to office. Are these measures going to really help, sir, in tackling with this crisis?
They only have symbolic value, but they are important in the sense that it sends a message to the people that we are not only asking you to tighten your belt, we are tightening the belt ourselves. But I came across a very interesting news item yesterday in the Times of India, where some official of the government of India said, no, it does not, it's not austerity measures.
I was coming to that, actually. They have a problem with the word austerity.
Yeah, it's not, they said it's not austerity measures. It is not really into cuts in subsidies or budget allocations, this, that, and the other. So what is it? After this statement, I frankly am very confused. That what exactly is the state of affairs? Are we going to observe austerity? Or, we have done enough, Prime Minister has spoken and that's all. Now it's up to the citizens. And what can he do if the citizens don't obey him, follow his advice? In the meanwhile, they have raised the prices of petrol and diesel. Yesterday, the news came that wholesale price index had gone up from 3.88 in March, 3.88% to 8.3% in April. You must have seen that report. Wholesale price index, even before the prices of petroleum products were raised. Now that petroleum prices have been raised, I don't know where prices are going in this country, both retail and wholesale. And also, you must have seen reports that price rise has already affected all those items also which are not imported. I can understand petroleum product prices being raised. I can understand fertilizer prices being raised. But what will explain milk prices being raised? We are not importing any milk. So why have they raised milk prices? It only shows that the citizens of India have to brace for price rise across the board. And the impact had started today with the increase in petroleum and diesel prices. Because diesel is a commodity which affects everything else. It has a cascading effect. So it will lead to increase in transport charges, increase in industrial products, increase of agriculture use everywhere. And as I said, this is Government of India induced. I'll also like to make another point here. We have faced such crises in the past also. Now, when petroleum crude prices used to increase, as a result of which we had to raise petroleum product prices, then what was the formula which was followed? Not only by the Vajpayee government, it was followed by Manmohan Singh government also. The formula was that the burden will be divided three ways. And which are the three ways? One is, first of all, the government will reduce its excise duty. So it will take part 1/3 of the burden. The second was the petroleum companies will take a part of the burden. And the third was the consumer will take 1/3 of the burden. So people were prepared to accept this because everybody else was sharing the burden. Now, the whole burden is being passed on to the consumer. You are aware of the fact that when Mr. Modi came into office, petroleum crude was perhaps $120, $130 a barrel. And then it came down to $30, $35 a barrel. Did he pass on the advantage of decrease in prices to the people of India? No. They, by raising excise duty, they made billions of dollars, of course in rupees, through their taxation measures. And now that they have raised the prices, will they do the same when petroleum crude prices start declining? God alone knows. This government has behaved like a merchant, not like a welfare state. It has behaved like a merchant state. And it has shortchanged its citizens whenever the need has arisen.
Mr. Sinha, what is very, very depressing and very disappointing is that when the government goes wrong, there is an opposition which sounds the government, which keeps warning the government, that puts the brakes. I still remember that beautiful speech which Sushma Swaraj had made. You were there also in Parliament at that time. कि हम आपको चिताएंगे, जब जब आप गलत होंगे तब तक हम आपको चिताएंगे. There was a beautiful speech made by Sushma Swaraj. Now those kind of speeches have no meaning. Today, the only impression which one has is that whatever Prime Minister wants to do, he will have his way, come what may, irrespective of whether the institutions are demolished, whether the opposition survives or not, and especially what we have seen after the Bengal results. Do you think that Modi is so powerful now? He's much more than a he-man now, the muscular image which he had. He seems like an omnipotent man now. Nobody can demolish him at all.
You see, my own take on this is that after they came down to 246 seats in the present Lok Sabha and the last Lok Sabha elections, they must have gone into a huddle, and in collusion with the Election Commission, they decided that we will not lose any election in future, and they have not lost any election, state election after that. How? Because in collusion with the Election Commission, they have found this new formula of eliminating from the voters list people who are not likely to vote for the BJP. And I am told that the Election Commission, the government have the entire data on the voting behavior of every citizen in this country. And they know how they have voted. So it's very easy to remove their name from the voters list through SIR. You keep shouting. 27 lakh voters' names were deleted. In Bengal, some issue was raised. But what did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court said, okay, if you don't get to vote in this election, please vote in the next election. This was the attitude of the Supreme Court. Now, so where do you go for justice? Mr. Modi has become powerful, no doubt, because he has become the master of all the institutions in this country. Institutions which are charged with the responsibility of protecting and preserving democracy in this country according to our constitution. Now they have forgotten their.
You just spoke about institutions, and I'm tempted to rake up that issue of the selection of the CBI director. Praveen Sood's extension has been given by 1 year, and in that selection panel, Rahul Gandhi gave a strong dissent note. He said that LOP is not a rubber stamp. I have to function according to my constitutional duty. And on the same table, Justice Surikant was also sitting, Prime Minister was also sitting. But even then, there was no consensus. 69 names were given at the last moment, but finally there was no consensus. And the present CBI director has been given an extension of 1 year.
It was all planned. It was all pre-scripted that this is going to happen. And Rahul Gandhi, as leader of opposition, attending any selection committee meeting where he is in a minority of one means nothing. You have seen the Supreme Court's observation. I'm sorry, I'm referring to the Supreme Court. I hope they'll do something about it. About the selection of the Chief Election Commissioner, election commissioners. Again, Prime Minister, one Minister of the government and LOP. So LOP is always in a minority of one. He can't stop the government from doing any wrong thing. So there is just no point whether it's CBI director or appointment of other constitutional posts. The LOP just becomes an ornamental member of that selection committee.
So what does one say, sir, towards the end? I mean, the kind of governance we are seeing and the way Prime Minister Modi is just doing what he wants. And there is no scope of the opposition. Look at the condition of the political parties, the regional parties, how they are getting decimated, especially after Mamata Banerjee's rout in Bengal. What is the hope left for the opposition? What would you say? How are they going to fight? And if SIR, this third phase of the SIR has already been announced, so which means that next year the elections which are going to take place in Punjab, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, the scenario is going to be the same, and the same Bengal model will be replicated there, and the opposition parties will have no say in that.
You see, India alliance is a shambles. You are aware of that.
Yes.
That is dead and gone. It's a past chapter in our history. Now, I don't know whether the opposition parties will have sense enough to come together, even during this crisis that you have mentioned. If they don't, my advice to opposition parties is that even singly, let them take some steps. Congress party is the largest party in the country. So let the Congress party begin with this. Number one, they should say if elections are held on the basis of this compromised voters list, then we are not going to stand for election. Some people have even gotten to the extent of suggesting that EVMs are subject to all kinds of manipulation. So let's abolish voting through EVMs and let's go back to the ballot paper. This one issue should be seriously considered by the Congress party. And if the Congress party feels that contesting elections has actually no meaning, then they should expose the government and take the moral quotient out of an electoral victory by not contesting elections. That is the ultimate recourse for the opposition parties, and it must begin with the Congress party. And then, of course, is my old suggestion that the opposition parties, including and especially the Congress party, must hit the streets. We have not seen a movement, an andolan in this country for ages. After the JP movement, there has been no Nana movement, fizzled out in no time. So we need a movement of that sort in this country against the dictatorial ways of Mr. Modi and the manner in which he is violating the constitution and compromising the institutions of democracy.
All right, so we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha, for joining on HW.
Thank you. Thank you.